There is a paste that costs less than a cup of coffee. It doesn't come in a sleek bottle. It has no celebrity endorsement. It has no Super Bowl commercial. And it never will. Because the people who sell you $400 rust treatments, they already know about it. They've known for over a century. This paste doesn't just cover rust. It doesn't just slow rust. It converts rust at the molecular level and turns your enemy into armor. One coat on a rotting truck frame. One coat on a crumbling wheel arch. And the corrosion that's been quietly killing your vehicle for years just stops. The $400 billion automotive parts industry prays every single day that you never find this video. They didn't bury this formula because it was weak. They buried it because it worked too well. A $2 fix that replaces a $2,000 repair is not a product to them. It's a threat. Welcome to the vault. Today, we dig up the truth. To understand what they buried, you have to go back. Way back. Before modern chemistry. Before auto shops. Before the word corrosion even appeared in an engineering textbook. It's the 1840s. A blacksmith in rural Pennsylvania is looking at his iron tools. They've sat outside in the rain for 3 weeks. They should be rusted, covered in that orange, flaking decay. But they're not. They're black, hard, dense, protected by a layer so thin you almost can't see it, but so tough you can't scratch it with your thumbnail. He didn't know the chemistry. He didn't need to. He had noticed something that every blacksmith before him had noticed for generations. When iron meets the tannins from certain plants, oak bark, gallnuts, walnut husks, it doesn't decay. It transforms. The rust doesn't spread. The surface turns jet black and locks down. This wasn't an accident. This was craft knowledge, passed from master to apprentice, written in no textbook because it needed none. It was simply the way things were done. Fast forward to 1942. The United States Army has a problem, a massive one. They are shipping iron and steel equipment across oceans, through humid jungles, through salted sea air. By the time half the machinery reaches the Pacific theater, it's already compromised, rusting from the inside out. Field mechanics, resourceful, desperate, brilliant, start experimenting. They don't have access to laboratories. They don't have modern solvents. They have what's around them. And some of them remember the old blacksmith trick. They begin making crude paste from tannin-rich plant material. Black, thick, foul-smelling paste. They coat exposed metal, axles, gun carriages, vehicle undercarriages, and the rust stops. Internal military field reports from that era, some still classified, some quietly declassified and buried in government archives, describe the treatment as unexpectedly effective. Unexpectedly effective. That's bureaucrat language for, this shouldn't work this well. After the war, those mechanics came home. Some of them kept using the technique. On their farm equipment, on their trucks, on their cars. And then, something happened. The auto industry grew. Chemical companies grew. The idea that the average person could maintain their own vehicle with a $2 solution became inconvenient. The knowledge didn't disappear overnight. It was phased out, quietly, systematically. University metallurgy programs stopped teaching it. Trade schools dropped it from their curricula. Auto shop manuals replaced it with proprietary products. Products that needed to be bought. Again, and again, and again. The blacksmith's secret was never disproven. It was never declared ineffective. It was simply deprioritized. That is a polite word for buried. This is what they buried. And it still works today exactly the way it worked in 1942. Exactly the way it worked in 1840. Because chemistry doesn't care about profit margins. Molecules don't sign NDAs. Let me give you a number. $400 billion. That is the size of the global automotive parts and repair market. And inside that number, nestled quietly between brake pads and oil changes, sits the rust treatment industry. A multi-billion-dollar subsector built entirely on one premise. That you will keep rusting. Forever. Think about that. These are not companies selling you a cure. They are selling you management. There is a difference. A cure ends the sale. Management keeps you coming back. Rust converter spray at $40 a can. Primer coating at $60. Undercoating service at $300. Frame restoration at $2,000. And when the frame is too far gone, new vehicle. The cycle is the product. Now imagine a paste that costs $2. A paste you can make yourself or buy in raw form at any agricultural supply store. A paste that doesn't just slow rust, it chemically bonds to it, neutralizes it, and converts the iron oxide into a compound that actually protects the metal beneath. Imagine that paste becoming common knowledge. Imagine every backyard mechanic in America, in Europe, in Australia, knowing about it. The $300 undercoating service? Gone. The $40 rust converter spray? Gone. The $2,000 frame restoration job? Gone. Do you understand now why this information moves quietly? Why it lives in forums and old military manuals and obscure metallurgy papers instead of primetime television? It's not a conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theories require shadows and secrets and whispered meetings. This is simpler than that. This is just money. Big money has no interest in small solutions, especially solutions that work permanently, especially solutions that require no repeat purchase. There is a phrase in the pharmaceutical industry: a patient cured is a customer lost. The automotive industry has its own version. They just don't say it out loud. A vehicle that doesn't rust is a vehicle that doesn't need parts. A truck that runs for 40 years doesn't get replaced at year 15. An undercarriage treated with a $2 paste doesn't need an annual $300 rust-proofing service. The math is brutal. And the math is exactly why this information never made it to the mainstream. Welcome to the vault. Now let's talk about why it works. The active compound is called tannic acid. You've heard of tannins. They're in red wine, in black tea, in oak bark, in gallnuts, those strange round growths on oak trees that look like marbles. But tannic acid isn't just a flavor compound. Under the right conditions, it is a chemical weapon against iron oxide. Here's what happens at the molecular level. When iron is exposed to oxygen and moisture, it oxidizes. That orange flaking layer, rust, is technically called iron oxide. It's not just ugly. It's hungry. It expands as it forms. It pushes outward, cracking the surface above it, exposing fresh metal beneath. Rust feeds itself. Left unchecked, rust doesn't stop. It burrows. It migrates. It hollows structural metal from the inside out until you have nothing left but a brittle shell that looks solid and isn't. Now, introduce tannic acid. Tannic acid contains multiple hydroxyl groups, oxygen-hydrogen molecular arms that aggressively seek out iron ions. When tannic acid contacts iron oxide, a chemical reaction occurs. The tannic acid binds to the iron ions within the rust. The reaction converts the reddish, unstable iron oxide into iron tannate, a compound that is jet black, chemically stable, and molecularly inert. Inert means it stops reacting. It stops spreading. It locks in place. But here's the critical part that most people miss. Iron tannate doesn't just halt the rust. It polymerizes. It forms a hard, dense, cross-linked layer directly on the metal surface. That layer acts as a physical barrier against future oxidation. You have just done two things simultaneously. One, you neutralize the existing rust. The enemy is disarmed. Two, you laid down a protective coating made from the converted rust itself. The enemy became the armor. That is not a metaphor. That is literally what happens at the molecular level. Professional rust converters sold at auto stores, the ones priced at $30 to $90, use tannic acid as their primary active ingredient. Read the label. It's in there. Often labeled as tannic acid or hidden under phosphoric acid blend, which achieves a similar but inferior conversion. The difference between those $60 products and the $2 raw technique. Packaging, marketing, margin. The molecule is the same. The chemistry hasn't changed since that Pennsylvania blacksmith watched his iron turn black in the 1840s. What changed is who profits from it. And now, the part you came here for, how to actually use it. You need three things. Raw tannic acid powder, available at brewing supply stores, agricultural co-ops, or online. A 100-gram bag costs between $1.50 and $3. That bag will treat an entire vehicle. A small container for mixing, old glass jar, plastic cup, doesn't matter. A stiff brush or old paintbrush, something you don't mind ruining. That's it. 3 items. Under $5 combined. Step 1. Surface preparation. Don't skip this. It is the most important step and the one most people get wrong. You are not painting over rust. You are treating it. The difference is everything. Take a wire brush, manual or drill mounted, and scrub the rusted area aggressively. You want to remove loose, flaking rust, the kind that comes away in powdery orange clouds. You are not trying to get down to bare shiny metal. That is a misunderstanding of what this technique does. Leave the adherent rust, the rust that is still bonded to the surface. That is exactly what tannic acid needs to work with. Brush off the dust. Wipe the area with a dry rag. The surface should look like old red brick. Rough, textured, firmly attached. Not flaking, not powdery. Smell it. That's the smell of oxidized iron. Remember it, because in 20 minutes, it's going to smell different. Step 2. Mix the paste. Take your tannic acid powder. Add water slowly, mixing as you go. You're aiming for the consistency of warm honey. Thick enough to cling to a vertical surface. Thin enough to work into crevices with a brush. The mixture will be pale yellow to light brown when you first combine it. Don't be fooled by the color. The reaction happens on the metal, not in the jar. Step 3. Application. Dip your brush. Load it generously. Apply with firm, circular strokes directly onto the rusted surface. Work it in. Don't just paint on top. Push it into every pit, every pore, every crevice of the rust. Within 30 to 60 seconds, watch the surface. It begins to darken. First a muted brown, then chocolate, then, slowly, almost like watching ink dry on old paper, the surface turns black. Jet black. Dense. Final. That's iron tannate forming in real time. That's the chemistry happening right in front of you. That's 180 years of buried knowledge, right there on your truck frame, working exactly as advertised. The smell changes too. That metallic, oxidized tang begins to fade, replaced by something earthier, organic, ancient. Apply a second coat while the first is still slightly tacky. Let it penetrate again. Watch it go black again. 2 coats on moderate rust. 3 coats on severe pitting. Step 4. Cure time. Walk away. Give it 24 hours minimum. 48 hours if the rust was deep. During that time, the iron tannate layer is hardening, cross-linking, building that molecular barrier. Do not wash it. Do not sand it. Do not touch it. Come back the next day. Run your finger across it. What was once soft, crumbling rust is now a hard, black, chemically stable surface. That surface will not rust again. If desired, and for outdoor vehicles it's recommended, apply a top coat of paint or clear coat over the black layer. The tannate bonds well to most primers. You now have a multi-layer system that will outlast most factory undercoatings. The total cost of what you just did? Under $2. This is what they buried. They counted on your not knowing this. They counted on you walking into an auto store and standing in front of a shelf full of sprays and primers and coatings and not knowing that all of them, every single one, traces back to a reaction that costs $2 and has been known for over a century. They counted on the gap between what they know and what you know. You just closed that gap. Now here is my warning. Videos like this one get flagged. They get buried in the algorithm. They get demonetized until they disappear quietly from search results. I've seen it happen. You've seen it happen. If this information was useless, they wouldn't bother. The fact that it's being suppressed is the proof that it works. So before you leave, share this video. Send it to the person in your life with a rusted truck. Send it to the mechanic who's been honest with you. Send it to the community that's tired of being overcharged for problems they can solve themselves for $2. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Save this to a playlist. Because vaults get closed, and what lives inside them gets buried again. Welcome to the vault. We'll see you in the next one.